funky.
In 1992, a few days before Christmas, a 6th grade teacher failed to show up for work. The principal thought it was a little weird, so he decided to drop by the teacher's house to see if everything was okay. When he got to her house, he found that the door was cracked open, and when he peered inside, he saw the lifeless body of 25-year-old Christy Marac. She'd been sexually assaulted, brutally beaten, and strangled to death. It went unsolved for 25 years until a woman decided to submit her DNA into an ancestry site. Her DNA would be a partial match to a sample submitted to the website by police from the Christy Marac case. Police would narrow the search down to one person, the woman's half-brother, Raymond Rowe. He was a young DJ at the time, and in the years after killing Christy, he put the murdering on ice and worked his way up to becoming a very successful and well-known DJ, DJing weddings, school dances, and he went by the really cool name of DJ Freeze. So police decided to drop by one of his dances, and as DJ Freeze's douchey Jersey Shore-looking ass was dropping some, sick techno beats, cops were rummaging through the garbage, where they were able to collect some of Raymond's DNA that matched the crime scene. That's where Mr. DJ Freeze's luck came to a screeching halt.
Hi, I'm Cam, and this woman claims she was on a mission from God, but by the end, 105 children were dead. From 2010 to 2015, Renee Bach ran a foundation called Serving His Children. Renee claims that she took in 940 severely malnourished children. She frequently blogged about their stories as well. But Renee Bach wasn't a doctor. She was a homeschooled 20-year-old with a white savior complex so severe she went to Uganda to play doctor and put children's lives at risk. Renee knew that the community knew her as the white doctor, but the act stopped when diagnosing her, quote, patients. People claim she relied on her, quote, gut feelings and the Bible. One woman brought in her 3-year-old son due to his severe malnourishment. 3 days later, her son was dead. They gave her what would be in American dollars $13.50, her son's body, and left with no explanation as to how he died. And that's just one of the 105 children who died at the facility. This is a screenshot of one of the court documents. Renee Bach is being sued in Ugandan civil court. She now lives in Bedford County, Virginia. Hi, I'm Kim, and this is 1 Minute Murder. Catherine Knight was the first Australian woman to be sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Catherine's father was a violent alcoholic who would rape her mother up to 10 times a day. She also claimed she was sexually abused by other family members until she was 11. Catherine acquired her dream job when she was 16, the local slaughterhouse. She was quickly promoted to boning and given her own set of butcher knives. She hung these butcher knives directly over her bed so they would always be handy if she needed them. On the wedding night with her first husband, she tried to strangle him because he only had intercourse with her 3 times and then fell asleep. This marriage ended after she burned his clothing, stabbed him, and killed his dog. Catherine moved into the house of John Price in 1995. When John refused to marry Catherine, she filmed all the equipment John had stolen and sent it to his boss. The items were expired medical equipment he had taken out of the garbage. On February 29th, John told his coworkers if he didn't come into work the next day, it would be because Catherine Knight killed him. At 6 a.m. on March 1st, the very next day, police found the body of John alongside Catherine, who was in a comatose from taking too many pills. Catherine had stabbed him at least 37 times, then skinned him and hung it on a meat hook in their living room. She decapitated him and cut off parts of his body. She cooked him in a pot and served a slush with baked vegetables and gravy. She set up 2 places at the table with his children's name on them. She was serving John's meat to his own children.
Tokyo wanted to honor the oldest man in the city. What they found in his apartment will give you chills.
In 2010, Tokyo officials wanted to congratulate Sojin Kato for becoming the oldest man in their city.
They went to his apartment on his 111th birthday to pay their respects. What they found in the apartment instead was his mummified remains. The remains were thought to be over 30 years old. It's thought that he died at the age of 79. It turns out his family had failed to report him as dead. Instead, they'd been living off his pension checks. For more 7 Sins Crime, remember to hit the plus button.
You guys, this week there was a huge revelation in the Amy Mihaljevic case from News Channel 5 in Cleveland, and no one's talking about it, so I need to. Just as a quick recap, Amy went missing from Bay Village, Ohio back in 1989. This guy called her home, said that he was friends with her mom. Her mom had gotten a promotion, so he wanted to buy her a gift, and he wanted Amy to help him. So they make plans for him to pick Amy up after school at this shopping plaza. Spoiler, her mom didn't get a promotion. No one knows who this guy is, and Amy's abducted. Months later, her body is found in Ashland, Ohio. But then, for years, the case just goes unsolved. We did an episode on Crime Junkie. We did an episode in the fan club. Nothing happened. So we all rolled into 2021 thinking there were no updates. But we were so wrong. So something prompted News Channel 5 in Cleveland to request some court records filed last fall. And here's what we learned. A woman came forward in January 2019 and said that she believed her ex-boyfriend could have been the suspect that took Amy, the guy that they made this sketch off of. And here's what they put in the court documents that kind of support it. 1, at the time, he lived less than 1.5 miles from where she was picked up. 2, he worked at the shopping plaza where she was picked up. 3, he had a niece in her grade, so that might explain how he knew her home phone number. 4, he didn't come home the night Amy went missing and was murdered. 5, in May 2020, police showed witnesses who saw Amy talking to a man a picture of this guy in a photo lineup, and they picked him out. 6, his car interior is the same color as fibers found on Amy. His car drove through an intersection near where Amy's body was found the day it was found. But that's not even the most bananas part. So this woman comes forward in January of 2019. Fast forward to November of 2019. This is right after the 30-year anniversary of Amy's abduction. This guy, waltzes into the police station. This very guy we're talking about. And he comes presumably to talk about Amy. And News Channel 5 Cleveland says that they talked to him over the course of 2 days. And he makes shady statements. Like, he might have known her, he might have called her, but it was probably a wrong number. And if there is DNA, someone else probably put it there. Now, after this, they find out he has a storage unit. He doesn't consent to let them search it, so they get a warrant and they seize evidence. And they also take his DNA for comparison. In 2019. It's 2021. Court docs were filed months ago. What up?
Hey guys, welcome to Female Killer February.
Andrea P. Kennedy was born on July 2, 1964 in Hallsville, Texas to a family with 4 other kids. Growing up, she quickly began to develop mental health issues, suffering from bulimia, depression, suicidal ideation throughout her teenage years. After graduating from a nursing program, she met Russell Yates, who she soon married. The two decided to try to have as many babies as they could, possibly for religious reason. Soon they had 4 children whilst moving into smaller and smaller living spaces. Following the birth of their 4th child, Andrea became very depressed and attempted to kill herself. This continued and she attempted many more times, and despite doctors' insistence against it, the Yates had another child. And then Andrea's father died. She started degenerating and was hospitalized twice more. Andrea even confessed to police that she had considered drowning her children but thought against it. On June 20th, 2001, Russell had gone to work and his mother was supposed to be with Andrea within an hour. Within that time, she drowned all 5 children one by one. After calling police, being arrested and tried, Andrea was found not guilty for reason of insanity. Hi, I'm Cam, and this is 1 Minute Murder. On the evening of July 22, 1995, 15-year-old Elise Paler left her home to hang out with 3 teenage boys who had promised her drugs. Later that evening, the 3, aged 14, 15, and 16, held her down, stabbed her, and had sex with her dead body. They would return to it on several other occasions, again committing acts of necrophilia. A forensic pathologist concluded she was stabbed at least 12 times. None of the individual wounds were fatal, he testified, meaning she slowly bled to death. The body was only discovered because one of the perpetrators, Wes Casey, confessed to the crime following his conversion to Christianity. In their defense, the defendants said that they needed to commit a sacrifice to the devil to give their heavy metal band Hatred the craziness to go professional. The parents of Elise filed a lawsuit against the band Slayer in 1996, claimed that the songs Postmortem and Dead Skin Mask gave the 3 killers detailed instructions to stalk, rape, torture, and commit acts of necrophilia on their daughter. The case was thrown out by the judge, stating there's not a legal position that could be taken that would make Slayer responsible for the girl's death. One of the killers, Jacob Delishmet, stated that the music is destructive, but that's not why Elise was murdered. She was murdered because Joe was obsessed with her and obsessed with killing her. Trio pleaded no contest and were sentenced to 26 years to life in prison.